Hi, welcome to Laura's View and Tarot 2. I am so glad you're here. Today's date is Monday, April 14th, 2025. I don't know about you, but I've found myself to be rather concerned about how President Donald J. Trump is associating so closely with people who are professional faith leaders who have prosperity preaching as their foundation, or large televangelism platforms that are very much about soliciting donations and lavish lifestyles, etc., mega churches, things like that. On the one hand, I know that if you're trying to reach out, you want to reach out. If you're trying to reach out to a community, you want to reach out to the largest groups of them you can. But that's not necessarily where the true spiritual power and alignment might be. So, yes, I've got some concerns. Yesterday, I was reading in the Gateway Pundit, and I've got that article linked in the video description box, that the White House Faith Office has a lot of activities planned for this Holy Week for Christians, where it's the week that we celebrate the death and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And that's great that that's going to be celebrated and honored. But when I saw some of the names of the notables that were being invited and participating, my blood ran cold, because there are people there that I know have dark deeds that have not been addressed. And that just kind of added to some other concerns, which I'll just share with you before we do a read. By the way, we're going to do two reads in this video before I get it out to you, just so you know. So the White House Faith Office has been around in some form or fashion since George W. Bush. So Trump didn't originate this. It hasn't always been fully staffed, well staffed, what have you. And it hasn't always had a strong Christian focus, depending on what the priorities were of the administration that staffed that office. So just out there that he being President Trump, didn't originate this office and this agency within his administration, but he is supporting it. Now, he chose a prosperity preacher by the name of Paula White Smith, who's been a longtime supporter, to kind of head up that, to be the leader of that faith office. So she is she's resuming the leadership that she previously had during his term as 45. And Jennifer S. Korn is deputy assistant to the president and faith director of the office. Okay, so now we have to kind of understand that Paula White Smith, while she's working in the leadership role in this faith office, she also has her separate ministry that's still very active and ongoing. Recently, in March, Paula White Smith announced, and at first it seemed like it was coming from the White House, which was very concerning, that for the low donation price of $1,000, you too could receive 7 supernatural blessings. After the hue and cry, which that right there would have made me remove her from that position personally, she clarified that that was something that was happening through her ministry, not through the White House Faith Office, and that she acknowledged that there were other ways to receive spiritual blessings. And so good for her on that. But still troubling in nature, and the element of profiteering, the efforts that were going on there. I found it concerning, and I think a lot of people did. Now, I've made no secret of the fact that I am a born again Christian, but I no longer align with any kind of organized religion. And so my faith stayed intact, and my relationship actually got stronger with the focus of my worship as I distanced myself from organized religion. I also know that there are lots of small home churches, or people like me, that still retain their faith, retain a relationship, or even strengthen a relationship with the focus of their worship without being part of a church, much less a mega church or a huge televangelism ministry, things like that, that are so profit motivated, so involved with bigger is better, and let's put gold leaf on everything. So it's a difficult dilemma to see my president aligning himself with just it's a big faction of a faith path that is so focused on prosperity, preaching, and as I said, the televangelism angle. I understand he's trying to reach the blocks of Christians that he can. Um, but I worry that if he's relying on these same individuals for his spiritual leadership and guidance, that he's not getting the best of the best when he does so. So that's kind of where I'm going to go with this today. We're going to take, with my first read, we're going to take a look at the White House Faith Office with that leader, Paula White King, or I think her name is Paula, and just what's happening there with that faith office. We'll get some insights in that. And then we're going to do a second read and ask just about um, President Trump and hopefully find that he's rather impervious, he's aware of and impervious to any not best possible outcome spiritual advice that he might be getting. I want to find out if that's the case too. And some advice. I mean, I have some that I know intuitively to give, that those of us that aren't part of mega churches, those of us that do have a sincere faith that it's outside the formal religion nowadays, those of us maybe that have small home churches or paths like that, that we can intercede with our prayers and kind of make up for any deficits that is going to be found by relying on such manicured and coiffed prosperity preachers and their ilk. And yes, I mean ilk. So let's do that now. I'm going to switch the camera. You can watch me work with the cards. And our first question, we're going to make this, we want the insights and information to come to us free of any veiling or obscuring, because guys, I am not so sure that the practices that might be done behind closed doors might not include some rather esoteric practices like that. We want to know about the White House Faith Office, what's going on there. And then we're going to check in on President Trump, or the person seen in the public eye and working under the auspices of President Trump. I'm not implying that he is a 2.0, but there are a number of Trumps that are out there for body doubles, protection, situational things like that. So we want to hone in on the original, the one that was duly elected. And or if someone has been delegated to have those authorities, we want the information on them too, don't we? Boy, this can get complicated, can't it? It's a complicated world, and it doesn't have to be, but apparently right now it is. So let's move the camera, and our first question is going to be about the White House Faith Office. Okay? 1 second while I get you over there. Okay, so free of any veiling or obscuring, we would really like to know what's going on with the White House Faith Office. Leadership, secret intents, whatever the universe might want to inform us about. In theory, having Christianity embraced and celebrated and not sidelined is a fabulous concept that I support, but as with so many things, concept and reality can sometimes be a little different. So let's find out what the reality is with this White House Faith Office. I can't even imagine having an office in the White House with all the stuff that's gone on and on under the underground there. But that's just me. Let's see. We have the prosperity angle highlighted with the Nine of Pentacles for our first card. Knight of Wands, the Hermit, Queen of Wands, lots of Pentacles, so their focus is indeed on many, many, many. Okay, we got the Six of Pentacles, more Pentacles with the King of Pentacles, and Death. Okay. Now we've got interesting combination of cards here. We have two major arcanas, one for the recent past and one for the near future. Now the Death card, as you probably know if you've been watching me any time at all, or other, reputable tarot readers, and there are quite a few out there, the Death card often talks about change that is just is transformative and long and slow. And if you look here, there's an obvious a religious leader here under the hooves of the uh, the death horse. So interesting. Some of the symbology is very intriguing in the tarot cards. So the White House Faith Office is being indicated with the Nine of Pentacles. It's clarified with the Knight of Wands. And this is a card that says, yeah, their focus is on money. The leadership there in the faith office, they are taking full financial advantage of being in the good graces of President Trump and using that to encourage their um, membership to give more, donate more, by those supernatural blessings, etc. The Knight of Wands, though, just says that occasionally there's a tendency to act a little prematurely. For example, with the walking back that Paula White Smith had to do with her $1,000 supernatural blessings offer, uh, they just don't always think things out. They let their greed get in the way. The Hermit is shining a light on this leadership. Okay. We always look at where the hermit is shining a light on. And so, yeah, there is going to be a more awareness of the financial emphasis that is being generated out of that office. I'm not getting anything here that says there's spiritual guidance and growth and such that is being acknowledged, although they are helping President Trump to make the statement that Christianity is not a taboo topic, that, we are a Christian nation. And so that part of it's going well. Let's look at the near future here. By the way, I guess I should address the Queen of Wands in the center part. The Queen of Wands is a strong figure. So again, we got a lot of strong maternal energy, and indeed, President Trump did put Paula White Smith in the leadership role, and Jennifer S. Korn is the deputy director. So there's strong feminine energy with this. Um, What's funny is the Queen of Wands usually talks about someone that can be very blunt and honest, and I'm not so sure that bluntness is a trait that Paula White Smith has embraced and pursues. Let's look at the near future, what's going on. Okay, so Nine of Pentacles, she wants nine, but she'll give out six. So in other words, she's keeping some for herself. Okay, so she's all about the money. All right. And it's not so much a spiritual path for her as just a path to prosperity. And she's done quite well with it. The that's what's coming out here. That this office is not about anything. Their focus is on money, 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 connections and capitalizing on connections. That is going to change. This card with the death card says that there is going to be some change here in the near future. Let's get two more cards and see if we can get some hints about what that change might be. Because like I said, I would have replaced that lady when she came out with that $1,000 buy your blessings crap. Okay, we got the Five of Wands and the Emperor. Okay, so there is going to be some turmoil and strife associated with this office in the near future. It's not just my misgivings here today at this Monday of Easter week, but there are going to have some conflict. And at some point, the Emperor, in other words, the leadership, President Trump, even the White House, the alliance possibly might even get involved with having some focus change and some changes come about in that office. So yeah, they're all about the money and not so much about the spiritual guidance and not so much about the relationship that's so important to have as you grow and develop your spiritual self as well as your physical, mental, and emotional self. So no surprise there. All about the money, all about the money. The nice thing is it does say that there's going to be some change coming, that this turmoil is not going to be long lasting, but it is going to be very necessary. And this priority focus is going to be to some extent addressed. So that's what we get for the first read, asking what's going on with the White House Faith Office. Money, money, money. So now, no surprise with what we got with the first read. Here's where it really gets to the nitty-gritty as far as I'm concerned. Let's just ask with a yes or no element in this question, and I'm going to use my gold Trump deck. Does President Trump, the person seen in the public eye and acting under the auspices of Donald J. Trump, the 47th President of the United States, I want to be very clear who we're asking about here. Does he have the wisdom and discernment to see this greed, this prosperity focus, how that's not necessarily a spiritual path um, that is as full-bodied as it might be? So will he be impervious to the uh, the less than highest minded spiritual advice he might receive and insights? So I want to know, is he impervious to this plus additional insights and information? So he's put people in place because they represent large groups, because he feels like that's the best way to broker influence, etc., like that. But is he aware that I think I'd find a couple of small home churches to be visiting, and I'd be asking small groups of really super good, faithful people to be praying for me. But we can do that without him asking for that, can't we? As long as he wouldn't object, and I don't think he would, because he's often welcomed prayer and a positive intention. So let's see what the universe, we want to know, is he going to be able to see beyond any deceptions and impervious to influences that aren't of the highest possible good, plus additional insights and information? Let's find out. I'm going to switch camera and watch me work with the cards, and we'll find out on this one together again. Okay, so again, our yes or no element is our 47th president, Donald J. Trump, the person seen in the public eye and acting under the auspices of that person, the one that was duly elected, etc. Is he going to be impervious and very wise about the less than high-minded spiritual advice he might receive, any spiritual misdirection he might receive, or is he going to be wise to that, plus additional insights and information? Let's find out. Okay, we've got the Knight of Cups, Queen of Cups. It's funny, we've gone from Pentacles to Cups so far. Then we have Justice. I think we've kind of given yeah, don't worry. He knows what's going on already. Let's see, though. Then we have the Four of Swords. For the near future, we've got the Hierophant. Then we have the Chariot, another good reassuring card, and I'll explain why here in a minute. And then we have the Devil. Okay, we're going to get a couple more cards here and see. Okay, I want to be reassured, but I don't want to read the cards falsely. Okay, so let's just look at exactly what we've got here. Knight of Cups for the situation. Okay, President Trump is aware that there are those that tell him what he wants to hear. He's got the wisdom to discern when that happens. Okay, the Queen of Cups is all about emotional intelligence. Again, just bolstering the fact that President Trump does have that discernment and awareness to know when he's being finessed. Okay, it's not his first rodeo, not by any means. The recent past, we've got the Justice card here, so he's got that fairness and wider view of things than people give him credit for. So that's good. The current, we've got the Four of Swords saying that, first of all, one of the things is that my question has touched on some information that is not yet ready to be public. That's part of it. There's more to this than meets the eye. But we were asking, is he going to be impervious to these less than high-minded influences or spiritual suggestions, etc., that he might receive? So that can be the fact that I might be touching into an area that there's some privacy involved, but we've got some reassuring cards around that. So let's keep going and see what we have. The Hierophant talks about, again, kind of traditional religious focus. So we're not going to see President Trump leaving formal religion behind in any way, shape, or form, but the possibility is there, even within those structures, he can still build and develop his faith walk, and hopefully he will. We've got the chariot, is why I say I'm hopeful that he will. The chariot is about triumph. It's about success. It's about moving forward. Okay, it's not a static card. It's about talking about moving. And it's the strongest insight card, which is really good because the next one, which is not as impactful, is the devil, talking about temptations, etc. So they're going to keep throwing temptations in the way of the path of President Trump and indeed his entire family. But that's nothing new that they haven't already dealt with. And hopefully, let's get a couple more cards and see. But hopefully, any of those temptations will be um, known and unsuccessful. Let's see. We got the Ace of Pentacles. So we got our yes that he is going to be a little bit bulletproof to some of the spiritual machinations that maybe headed his way through that White House faith office. And then the Temperance card, another very beautiful, reassuring card. Okay. Um, Besides the fact that there's an angel on this in this card, but this talks about teamwork and just kind of moderate expectations. So he knows what's going on. Absolutely. We've got the Two of Pentacles and our final card, another ace, Ace of Swords. Okay. So he is, yes, he's aware of the money aspect coming out of the White House faith office. Absolutely. And he's impervious to it. He has a connection, a spiritual connection that is separate and stronger than what is being delivered out of the White House faith office. That's good because there have been some really good prophetic leaders that have said he being Trump is God's David and he will grow and grow spiritually. And we're getting kind of a confirmation of that that is indeed his path. So that's really good to see. Let's recap. There are occasions when I do two reads in a video. Sometimes it's unplanned just because of the results I get in the first one. This one was more planned because I wanted to approach this big topic from two different directions. In the first one, we talked a little bit about the White House Faith Office and the leadership out of there, Paula Smith White. I think I got her name right. White Cane, pardon me, White Cane. Is in the leadership role there, and she's very much a prosperity preacher. And um, actions prove that, and unashamedly so. There's some concerns with who is being encouraged or allowed to rub elbows spiritually with President Trump, because some of the names I'm seeing I know have some really, really dark connections that their PR tries to keep that out of the mainstream worldview. So I was worried about what was going on. So we asked, first of all, we asked without veiling or obscuring, give us some information and insights. What's going on with the White House Faith Office? And what we got was they're all about the money. Absolutely. To the point that they don't always think things through before they do it. That's why there was so much pushback and outrage when White Cane announced for $1,000 you could have 7 supernatural blessings. Whoa. The we have some truly creator of all creators, our source, God, as you might know him to be, however you phrase it, has his eye on this situation and indeed Donald J. Trump and his family. Okay, so he's aware of what's going on. The shenanigans of men seldom have much effect on the creator of all creators, right? The again, time and again, we got money, pentacles. We did get some information that the this White House Faith Office is going to be undergoing some changes. Now, they may not all be observable to the constituent's eye, but they are facing a period of some changes. And I think because of that tendency to act a little rashly and definitely to act very greedily, it's going to cause some conflicts and changes to occur. And it's going to be authored by President Trump or even others within the White Hat Alliance family. So that was good to see on that. Then we got down to what I thought of as the nitty-gritty. We asked the universe, is our president, the person that truly is our president, is he going to be impervious to these less than high-minded spiritual nudges he may get from people he is rubbing elbows with? Is he going to be spiritually bulletproof? And we got some very reassuring cards. Okay, first of all, he is well aware. He is no stranger to people cozying up to him and trying to ingratiate themselves with him and broker some power and influence, what have you. He's very aware that he's got a lot of emotional maturity going on. Um, and he's got a relationship over and above what might be perceived in the public eye. Again, a relationship that is a strong connection. So that was good to see. I did get the little nod here in the current that there's some information pertaining to my question that may have infringed on some privacy, etc. So there wasn't full disclosures going on, but we did get that nod that yes, don't worry, he's got guidance beyond what he has established within the White House Faith Office. Absolutely. He's got a relationship with our loving creator or creator of all creators, source, however you want to view it, or phrase it or name it. Okay, he's got a relationship going on there. He's going to still seem to be part of traditional faith walks, but doing so, as with so many people, you don't have to leave formal religion behind to have a good relationship. Or a good faith walk. It's just they don't have to be separate. They don't have to be together. And he's not going to be distancing himself from formal religion. But there is some moves and shakes going on. Okay. This was a card for the near future that said, again, highlighting some of that connection and that faith walk. This says triumph, victory. Things are going to be moving. Absolutely. So he is going to be making those spiritual moves that have been foretold by a lot of spiritual people, saying that, he being President Trump is going to draw closer and have a closer relationship that's really genuine in his spiritual life. And I'm getting that. He is still going to face, as has his entire life, and so does his family, frequent temptations and efforts to get him sidetracked and derailed. And the older he gets, the more he sees through those, and they are unsuccessful. Then we started getting our aces. We got the Ace of Pentacles. He's very aware of the money, money, money aspect out of the White House Faith Office, and his words, thoughts, etc. He is aware of that and has that relationship that's going to say, yeah, he's not going to be affected by offers that include poor spiritual advice. So that was good to see that he is, again, going to be impervious to less than stellar spiritual advice. And there's a connection there he has that is genuine and growing and very strong. So that was good to see. That's it for this video. I thank you so much for your time and your attention and your viewership. I don't take you for granted. And I got to tell you, had a few nervous moments about this video for a few reasons. I wanted to not offend anybody. I didn't want to risk my channel. And I wanted to speak my truth and share my concerns without seeming to put down any particular personal choice people might have made for their faith walk. Again, there are some really good people with good relationships that are in these mega churches. There are some good people with good faith walks that are very much fans of televangelist A, B, or C. And I don't want people to ever feel like they have to justify or explain where they are or who they seek their spiritual advice from. But I did have concerns about what I was hearing coming out of the White House Faith Office, and I wanted to know if President Trump had the emotional and spiritual wisdom to not be influenced in ways that he shouldn't be in spiritual matters. And we got a yes that he's good on that. And that was worth it for me. It was worth being nervous. It was worth wondering how to phrase this and to move forward with it. So there we have it. So until next time, if you're willing to receive it, I send you love, light, and I wish you everything bright. Thank you. Bye.